also known as the architect personality type that is extremely passionate about perfecting the minor details of their everyday routine, extremely thoughtful about every single aspect of a certain thing, and making sure that whatever they do is completely rational, the INTJ personality type can actually be hard to spot in public unless you know what you're looking for. In addition to being rare, INTJs are introverts, which makes them even more difficult to find because they spend less time out in the open, where most people are found. They are very private people who enjoy peaceful situations with limited interpersonal interaction. They don't require much socializing when they can keep themselves busy with their passion projects and move toward their long-term goals. A lot of people are curious about meeting an INTJ or determining whether someone they know is an INTJ. An INTJ can be difficult to identify from an INFJ or an ISTJ at first glance. Without realizing it, you probably know a few INTJs already. Today I'm going to tell you about 7 things so you can spot an INTJ in the wild. The top 2 are things you probably haven't thought of, so make sure to watch until the end. Let's get into it. Welcome to Success for Breakfast, where I'm serving up brain food made simple. Hit that subscribe button to get the latest videos created to give you the tools to level up your life. Starting things off for us today is an INTJ's shopping skills. As I mentioned earlier, this personality type is extremely passionate when it comes to perfection. So how can you expect them to not show that in every single thing that they do every day? One of the easiest ways to spot the architect's personality type in public is while they are shopping. Unlike most people who get easily distracted by variety and choices, this personality type leaves the house with a clear sense of mission. If you are a salesperson and you approach a customer to recommend the products that you think will suit them better, and they seem to be stubborn and extremely decisive regarding their purchases, it's most likely that they belong to the INTJ personality type. INTJs will spend minimal time tracking down their main things and complete the errand as fast and as painlessly as possible because they despise staying in crowded places for any longer than required. When they go to the grocery store to buy some eggs, they won't get distracted, and no, they will not pick up anything else. They have an entire routine clearly memorized. INTJs have to carefully embed every chore, every duty, every responsibility, and every moment in their to-do list. The only store where they might be interested in making small talk or taking their sweet time and looking through things is the bookstore. There you can talk with them and you can recommend to them what you think might suit their taste. The number 6 way to spot an INTJ in the wild is their hatred for loud gatherings. This personality type prefers silence over anything else in the world. They make sure that they don't have to spend their free time in the middle of loud and talkative people. In fact, their friends' circle is typically void of any loud people. INTJs don't like to linger and chat. They prefer to get on with things that are more productive. Their silence is not usually a sign of shyness or a dislike for people. They simply aren't as engaged as most personality types in participating in a social game that is mainly pointless and useless to them. The only time an INTJ is talkative and interested in conversing with other people is when they are around their close friends. The inner circle that they are comfortable around have been with them probably for quite some time. It's not that easy to win their trust, and it takes quite some time for them to be comfortable with vulnerability and self-expression. Number 5 today is an INTJ's dead serious expression. One of the most commonly known traits of this personality type is the INTJ death stare, or their RBF. I don't mean that in a rude way. In fact, if you take a look at someone and the first thing you think about is, man, why do they look so angry? They are probably an INTJ. It's most likely simply their thinking face, and they'll probably be staring off in some random direction. If you find someone who is unintentionally looking at the same person continuously for quite some time, it's possible that they are drowned in their thoughts and aren't even realizing that the other person might be a little creeped out. INTJs are frequently oblivious of how intense their expressions appear to others, and do so without thought. In most situations, they mean nothing by it. They simply become so engrossed in their heads that they become oblivious to what is going on around them. What they are staring at is not what they are looking at, but what they are looking through. Due to their introverted nature, they rarely discuss their thoughts and issues with other people. It is a huge possibility that whenever you see the architect personality type with a death stare on their face, they're mentally confronting someone who has wronged them in the past. They just might be having a full-blown argument going on in their head. Next up, and number 4, is an INTJ's love for silence. They prefer silence over literally anything in the world. They'll rarely intentionally just randomly start a conversation. This personality type can get really annoyed if someone is even breathing near them during their alone time. That is one of the best and the worst things about them. If you want silence, and if you want the silence to be comfortable, you can sit near them. But if you feel like talking about your emotions or what has been bothering you lately, I would suggest that you find someone else to talk to. Talking to them won't really help you unless you are one of the very few people they do care about. The INTJ personality type cherishes their personal space more than anything in the world and is extremely selective when it comes to making friends as well. Anyone who has a habit of poking their nose in someone else's business, asking a lot of unnecessary questions, and is irresponsible, inefficient, and undisciplined shouldn't really consider being friends with an INTJ. Make sure to hit that like button if you've gotten some value from this video so far. That signals YouTube that you think other people could benefit from this video too. Kicking off our top 3 ways to spot an INTJ in the wild is their taste in fashion and appearance. Their taste in fashion is as loud as their inner circle of friends. They don't typically wear colorful or vibrant clothes. Instead, they prefer plain clothing that makes them look modest, respectable, and mature. If you open the closet of an architect personality type, the most common colors that will be there are gray, navy blue, black, and white. Their wardrobe is extremely consistent, and they don't believe in changing their way of dressing just to impress someone. Instead, they believe in making their impression through their efforts and dedication. But that doesn't mean that their appearance is boring. Their clothing selections tend to follow a regular theme and are intended to avoid drawing undue attention. However, INTJs, as judgers, are more likely to dress nicely and may even be fairly fashionable and edgy. On the other hand, as INTJs, they are likely to be removed from the physical world and don't necessarily see the need of dressing to impress. In the runner-up spot on today's list is INTJs are not that aware of the feelings of people around them. Remember when I mentioned earlier that if you're contemplating discussing your feelings with this personality type, I would advise you to just not? I wasn't exactly joking. An INTJ isn't exactly thoughtful when it comes to the minor aspects of other people's personalities. Confused? Because I did mention that they are aware of every single aspect of someone's personality and they are extremely observant, but it doesn't mean that they will keep all of that in their mind when they are being themselves. For example, they might know that a certain friend of theirs is irresponsible, but it doesn't mean that they will go any softer on them when it comes to holding them accountable for their duties and responsibilities. Also, if a friend suddenly stops talking to them or their tone gets harsh or cold, don't expect the architect personality type to notice the hints. They won't. They are a little too absorbed in fixing their routine and working on their long-term goals. Topping our list in the number 1 way to spot an INTJ in the wild is their preferred sources of entertainment. This personality type is forever thirsty for knowledge. They will prefer reading classics, learning complex things like coding or psychology, or listening to classical music instead of going out with friends and getting drunk. One of the most common nicknames for this personality type among their friends' circle can be bookworm or nerd. But then again, their choices in habits strengthen them in other aspects of their life. When it comes to debates, learning, or teaching, you can always count on them for being the most knowledgeable person in the room. The best and worst thing about this personality type is that they know what they want and they refuse to take a second opinion, unless it's backed up with cold hard facts. They have their mind set on their goals and don't entertain any distractions. You can always find them working a little overtime, studying a little extra, or researching to expand their already exceptional knowledge. What do you think about these ways you can easily spot an INTJ in your life? Be sure to leave your thoughts and opinions in the comments below. You've got this, now go get it done. Grab yourself some more brain food to help you level up your life and click on one of the videos on your screen right now.